And I will call the Finance Committee meeting to order on Thursday, January 15th. This is a hybrid meeting and it is being recorded. And Sarah Mellish, the chair, with me in the room from the Finance Committee are Bar Morse, John Croft, Andy Olderman, and Lori Clayton. Nobody from the Finance Committee. Also in the room are Ann Harrison from the Select Board, Tony Barletta, the town administrator, Andrea Mainville, the finance director, Christine Dixon, the town clerk, police chief Fitzgerald, and Lieutenant Mark McCoy. Okay, with that, we will start with the police department operations and capital budget. And I believe that, Chief, you sent us an overview. If you could just go through that, that would be helpful.
Yep. Again, thanks for having us in. I'm fishing on first this year to get it out of the way. You did get my memo, so just the time to actually go through the whole thing, if you had a chance to review it, any questions. But the overall theme of things is going to be staffing in FY27 and looking forward.
Yeah, so the highlights were impact of training requirements, and I lost 2 full-time.
Yeah, so currently we're down 2 full-time people. We're trying to recruit and hire. We've gone through a second round of interviews the other day, but potentially we may have to go back out, but we haven't decided yet. Or to see if we get some more candidates. But as of right now, we're down 2 full-time people, backfilling the role.
Have you guys thought about getting rid of the civil service?
We are on civil service.
Oh, you are?
We've been out since 2007. Yeah, 2007.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So that, in the past, it's made it easier to hire, but with today's climate, we find that one of the things is people aren't necessarily going into public safety profession. And it's tough to recruit. With the loss, with the post commission, the loss of the reserves, it is tough to home grow those people, and every department's pulling from the same pool. As a matter of fact, Gloucester today just put out a hiring notice for lateral transfer. I think they'll look at the 10.
Yeah, they're down 10 people.
I mean, it seems like a good job.
Yeah.
The all-in cash comp is good, and you get a pension.
But if you look, we're in the process of doing some comparables right now, but if you look at our base pay, it's considerably low compared to other communities. So that's one of the things that people are looking at, not, wanting to come over here. Plus, the long-term opportunities. We're a small department, and this younger generation wants, the action in the.
So we do have reserve officers. When police reform went through a few, how many years ago was that? 2020. They require reserve officers to be fully trained like a full-time police officer. So once they get that full training, now they're like a free agent, and other departments are grabbing them if you don't have an open spot.
And our current reserve officers are retirees who are limited by their pensions and hours, or number of hours they can work. So.
Now, when we went to the regional dispatch, we did add some police officers to the staff. And we also were dealing with the town's concern regarding coverage of the lobby. And I'm wondering, what is that utilization? Is that an opportunity while we're short-staffed to cut back on that off hours to avoid some overtime.
That's what we're currently doing now.
Okay, okay,
Most of the
good,
time, on the day shift, the lobby is not set,
okay,
or has not been set.
okay.
Tony, have any towns outsourced their public safety? I'm not suggesting it, but I'm just curious, are you aware of any instances where that has been
Not that I know
taking
of,
place?
not that I know of.
Maybe in the western part of the state, they call the state police and after midnight.
Yeah.
And not that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's more like mutual aid supplementing, or, our department is part of NEMLEC, which is, more specialized services, but do provide assistance to us on,
4th of July.
4th of July, like heavy days that we need more staff. We're able to utilize that program.
If we were to merge with another town's police, and again, please don't think I'm thinking about doing this, but would we be more competitive in the marketplace if instead of having X number of employees, we had 1.5 or 2 times X number of employees and more opportunity for advancement and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It would be dependent on, again, it comes down to really what that base pay
Right.
means. If you did something like that, what would it make you able to do? But I think our neighboring towns are all, kind of dealing with the same
problem.
Same problem.
Same issue across the board.
There's just not a lot. There's not a large pool of applicants out there. So you're really either running the risk of bringing someone in who doesn't have an academy, paying to send them to an academy, plus paying to backfill that shift while they're at the academy. And then when they come out, hopefully they stay with your department for a number of years. But it's oftentimes 3 years, down the road, they're shopping, and looking at other communities that are just able to pay, larger communities that have a commercial base, that have a split tax rate or not. They're able to pay significantly higher.
When back when I was actually collecting a regular paycheck, I worked for a great big company and we had trouble finding new employees. And we were in downtown Boston. We went to the Boston schools and tried to interest 8th, 9th, and 10th graders. And we would run, Coke and donuts or whatever it was, and said, hey, if you don't have to be indentured, but you want to sign up with us, we'll help train you and help you get into college or whatever it might be. It does seem as though with the challenge that we're confronting in terms of staffing, whether we do it alone or whether we do it with some other towns or whatever, innovative personnel engagement stuff might be called for. Just a thought. So I'm done. Sorry.
I can speak to that quickly. I know we have gone to the local police academy. Sometimes they self-sponsor people who are paying their own way to get through that.
Yeah.
We've advertised there. We have gone to local college fairs and whatnot,
Right.
and we've given a lot of brochures there. So we've done our best to do exactly that.
Great.
I'm gonna apologize. Could you give me your name?
Sergeant Loof with the police
Oh,
department.
thank
Sorry.
you.
A lot of towns, this is how bad it's gotten. A lot of towns are now offering signing bonuses
Mhm.
to people that laterally transfer, really. I guess it's for anyone, but
It's anyone. Yeah.
it's mostly designed to incentivize some lateral transfers.
And that's done outside of the union contract.
I think that would
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
be negotiated with the union.
Oh, okay. And the police contract is
It's got another year,
Another year, yeah.
another fiscal year.
So we have to basically decide if we wanna continue as we have and sort of eat the market increase in police pricing or have less police.
What, I noticed, well, at least on my street, we have a lot of construction, so there's a lot of police details.
It's slow
More
to,
construction next.
I've seen the painting on the road. So does that help us retain people if we've got a lot of police details available? Do we have troubles filling them? Do we ever use on-duty people to do the police details?
Mostly off-duty
Okay,
people that fill them in. If we have trouble filling, we go outside to other communities, and bring officers in.
okay.
So that really hasn't been an issue. It's just, making sure that we have enough staff to maintain the minimum of 2 every day.
I think,
For every trip.
you know, prospective candidates are looking at our union contract, looking at the base pay, looking at if there are additional stipends, you know, for EMT certification. Where are we with the Quinn bill and as far as salary increase based on educational level, but they also look at detail rates too. Detail rates, most detail rates are not a cost to the town. You know, of course, town details are. So it can be a competitive element for a prospective candidate if we have a higher detail rates.
So we
It's
set
really
the
a
detail
full
rates.
package.
We said it, yeah.
It's in the contract.
It's a contract
And
negotiation.
currently our detail rate is lower than surrounding towns,
By,
which is
you
surprising.
know, like by what amount, what percent,
I
or,
think about $10 an hour.
seems like an easy one.
so not a big gap, but.
Crank that up.
Yeah.
And we can't do that under the current contract.
We'd have to approach the union and open the contract early. I'm assuming the union would be open to
Yeah, I
that,
think they
or
would.
receptive to that.
We do that.
It does. Yeah, in contracts that I've negotiated in the past, we've separated the rates out for town rates, non-town rates. So we can think about something like that, you know, so that our public projects aren't growing in price. You know, we're not hurting ourselves, but most of the details I imagine are utility. National Grid pays those.
And tree people.
Treatment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where do we fall on the non-town detail relative to benchmarking to others? Are we really low? I mean, could we
I'd have
raise
to
that a
check.
big amount
Is
to
it
leave
split
the
up in
town?
our contract?
Yes.
DPW is.
So the private rate is 65, town rate's 60
Okay.
currently.
And that just went up.
And yeah, that just went up last contract. The guys.
So I guess the question is, if we raise the non-town rate, is there room to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it really
Yeah,
is.
I don't,
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of where I'm going with it, you know?
Yeah. But I think the main factor is the base rate. Our base rate, or the patrolman base rate, is fairly low compared to our surrounding
Right.
communities.
so we,
And that's why, like, Essex just hired 2 from Massport. And one of them worked here for a short time, which we thought we could get him back here. And he went to Essex because they make more money in the base.
But Essex didn't have any budget.
Security.
so. Before we go too far down that road, you know, I don't want to, like, that'll be a negotiation with the union. But certainly it's something that we've talked about and potentially approaching the union to open the contract early. If we may be going out for another round, if we don't come up with good candidates through that, I think it's something that we really should think about doing. But, you know, when when the effect of that is it in the current fiscal year or is it in the upcoming fiscal year? And those changes, we'd have to figure out how we adjust either budget.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I think the question is, can you open the contract and not negotiate a new contract early, but just make an adjustment for the last year of the existing contract?
Yes.
It's one impact.
Yep, yeah, you can do that.
And, but, you know, particularly as to detail rates, but if base pay is an issue too.
Yeah.
And I think the question is what's the price tag attached to that? And can we fit it into this upcoming budget?
Well, at the moment, we're paying a penalty through overtime,
Right,
so maybe it's
worth it,
relatively a moot point.
yeah.
On that note, the overtime, I wasn't, it's probably my poor memory. I didn't remember the overtime being as much as it was in 2024. I just don't remember having this discussion last year. That's quite a chunk.
We were down 2 people for that.
Yeah, so, yeah, but 2024, it says the actual was 233,000. And then 2025, 239,000. So comparable.
But I think one of the things they've done is I think they've moved some of that overtime to 4th of July.
4th of July, yeah, some of it's 4th of July, some of it's in training, because now the 4th of July comes out of that. This year will be the first year we'll see that reflection on the 4th of July in the training. The fireworks money.
I don't understand that. Was not explain that to me a little more.
So we take the 4th of July overtime. And
Yeah.
we put it in a separate account over in Parks and Rec.
Thank you.
So is that not reflected in
It's not reflected.
the number? Okay. What kind of number is that?
It doubles every year. I think this year it's 25,000 for the
All
2
right.
days.
Okay.
Around that number.
So do we think this budget is much closer than the last couple of years to actual?
Overtime.
Yeah. I'm hoping.
What
But
was the cause in 2025 of the large overtime? I can't remember. I know you've told us, but
that was,
Training.
training. Oh, yeah, training, the unfunded training
okay,
was mandated by post.
okay.
We did have an officer out with a pregnancy and we had another one that was
I believe.
on leave.
That's right. Okay.
This is unpopular, but, what do you think the quality of our policing is?
I think it's top notch. I think it's top notch, and I think we got a pretty solid crew at the moment. And I think that moving forward, we have some real experience and leadership that could maintain the level of safety that the town sees now.
How do our metrics compare? Maybe they don't, with other similar communities in terms of the,
Well, one thing I do know, I don't have those in front of me, but I do know that our mental health responses have increased over the years. Steve is actually the in charge of our mental health and overdose recovery response team. So you could probably speak to more of that.
Yeah, this last year, for whatever reason, our mental health and drug-related calls have almost doubled to the highest they've been since I took over the team like 15 years ago.
wow.
And I don't know if that has to do with the whole nationwide climate. There's a lot of things going on that's stressful for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think that people who are already dealing with a pre-existing mental health condition are overwhelmed by it. But even in a small town like this, the calls are pretty high. And to piggyback off what the chief said, we have a smaller department, but a lot of our people are really willing and able to put on multiple hats and do multiple things and juggle a lot of different tasks. So I'm pretty proud that everyone's able to do that.
And Chief, to the question of the quality of the service being accredited, can you speak to that?
Yeah, so we
Not
are
all
accredited,
towns.
we've been reaccredited once. But first we got accredited, then we got reaccredited. So that accreditation process is where dealing with today's best standards, and we have to show metrics every year, year one, year two, year three of the accreditation process, that we meet these metrics. So, that's a pretty high standard for a small agency, and one of the biggest drawbacks is this building. That's, but we managed to do it, and when they come in and evaluate us, that most of the time they say that they're pretty impressed of how we've handled the accreditation process.
When you say this building, we don't have a lockup and.
Well, we have a lockup, but it's not to the, we don't have an evidence room, we don't have an armory, things that we're supposed to have. We've made a cell into an evidence room with limited funding. We've made the armory into as an old archives room, a closet. So
And you're up high tide also.
we have high time, we're pumping out. So the accreditation keeps us at a high level standard, and the process of accreditation just is tough, and it's worked on every single day.
Hold on just a minute. Dean Nahadas is from the Finance Committee and he's on Zoom. Dean, you have a question?
He's on mute.
You're muted, Dean.
Okay, sorry. It's been quite a day. Anyway, I was alarmed when I saw in the memo that, and I just read it, but there's only 2 full-time police officers right now and everyone else is part-time? Is that what that memo said? Because I was trying to break down the salary. You need like three 8-hour shifts a day for 2 people, 42 shifts a week. So say 50 shifts a week. How much of those shifts do we need overtime for? Or do we have enough people to fill those in regular salary? I guess that's the question I had.
Okay, I think that, the chief did say it. There's 2 full-time police officers that left, so we have 2 full-time openings.
Okay, so they left, and these are the ones we trained, because I remember, okay.
So chief, how many full-time police officers are there?
Well,
And women? Excuse me.
we should have 15 for patrol, so
Okay.
we're down 2, and then there's the chief and the lieutenant, so 17 total.
Okay,
Okay, that's what that makes more sense. So I read it wrong, that 2 left, and then we're replacing them. Okay,
thanks, Dean.
yeah.
I
Maureen,
guess I just have a question. I mean, it's a staffing issue, and I guess the question is, how do you think this is going to play out over the next 3 or 4 or 5 years? Because I'm not entirely sure it's a money thing. I mean, people want to get trained and then they want to go on to maybe more exciting places. So Manchester's going to be faced with this challenge, and sometimes looking at what we think the next 5 years is going to bring helps us figure out what to do now. And I'm curious if you have any.
Well, I think one of the things for our retention was the Quimble put back into the contract. That was a huge thing. We lost, I think it was like 11 people to other communities, because we trained them, we hired them, and then they went to like Beverly. A lot of them went to Beverly, Gloucester, because of that. So I honestly think that we're in a good place with that, but if you raise the pay, or the base pay is probably what's going to retain these people, because what I find is, I hate to say, the younger generation, they want to do their 40 hours and nothing else.
Yep.
Our opposites.
I would say the reverse of what you said is also can be true. Sometimes you have someone who's working in a big city, maybe has 10 years in, and they want to slow down. And a place like this is a lot more attractive. But the thing that I think holds them back is the pay that they're making in a city isn't quite, what they make in a town. So if we can bridge that gap a little bit, maybe the reverse of what you said could also be true.
Yep. So from just stretching that forward, instead of maybe trying to hire people right out of the academy very early in their career who are looking for, big city stuff, we focus more on mid-career. Challenge with mid-career is that the expectation on pay may be higher.
Correct.
So, I guess how does the town structure itself to think about that model going forward, maybe?
Do you want to go over that staffing model?
I can, and to your point, that's kind of where we started with this process. We put it out to people who were already academy trained and established somewhere, tried to get them to come to us. That would be a more seasoned person. Rather than what we call home grower candidate who needs all the experience. So back a few years ago, when we realized we had kind of a staffing issue, I know everyone's seen this. I think I have extra copies if anyone needs it. It really is just, we went over the numbers and said, all right, what does it take to run a police department hour by hour? And we figured out that really each officer can give you on the schedule that we work 1,941 hours. We then deducted a bunch of hours from that for vacation, for average sick time, for court time, training time. And then we looked at what an officer can really give you. We ended up with about 1,405 hours. That's what an officer can give you. And then we looked at how much staffing we really can make happen with that number. And what we found out is to run a minimum amount of staff, 2 officers on the road, no lottery coverage at all, just the minimum contractual obligation to the town is 13 officers. And if I'm not mistaken, that's what we're doing right now.
That's what we're doing.
And that's why the overtime's so high. If somebody is out sick or on vacation time, it absolutely goes to overtime. There's no staff to prevent that. So if we can get these 2 people hired, we'd be in a better place to be able to have a little bit of coverage for those days. And then this reflects what we call the gold standard, is if we continue hiring, we get to get 2 more after that to be at a total of, I think it's 17 patrol staff. At that point, you would really see a dip in the overtime because we'd have a 3rd person available, working patrol. But if someone were to call out or have a court date, we could just fill it without overtime. So, I mean, those numbers don't lie. That's just what it takes. And the figures do go up and down based on salary, but this will be the same in 10 years from now.
Where does this budget envision for the next year as far as staffing, filling the 2?
Just getting us back to the 15 officers. And we've been very creative with scheduling and working the schedule a certain way to make it, not have so many natural openings, but we are a small agency, so we're doing the very best with what we have.
We're pulling union contracts from neighboring communities that are similar to ours, communities that are just nearby. Beverly and Gloucester, obviously, we're going to be much lower than them because they have a much bigger budget. But at the same time, with the Quinn bill as an example, it'd be really hard for a city like Gloucester to do what we do with the Quinn bill. It'd be really expensive for them because of the number of officers that they have. So we're looking at that. We're looking at, I know you've talked to a lot of your colleagues in other departments. I've talked to a lot of police officers that I know that have recently moved to other positions. We've tried to ask, what's the attraction there? And some of it is, am I going to be just sitting in a patrol car, or am I going to be doing specialized detective work or other types of services? But it really comes down to the base pay, signing bonus, education incentive. And then there's also kind of an element of, does the community support police? That is kind of a newer factor in the recent years since police reform and the George Floyd days. That's kind of been something that we've heard a little bit about too.
And is the sense that Manchester residents support our police?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How, just irrelevant, but how many of our folks in policing live in town? 1,
3
3.
Total, yeah.
total.
So suppose, again, irrelevant, suppose we had housing that favored town employees, whether they're a school teacher, police officer, whatever it is. Would that help our staffing or not really?
I think it could, it could and it couldn't. It kind of depends on the candidate.
Yeah. Okay.
Do they want to live
Well,
you know, in
if they have
Manchester,
little
I
kids
see
who
the-
want to go
yeah,
to
yeah.
grad school or
Yeah,
whatever.
right, so it's possible, but certainly, I think it's difficult for most town employees to be able to afford to live here. And certainly, yeah, it's, you know, we're not gonna attract a candidate from Western Mass or that lives down on the Cape. So it could make a difference, but it's hard to say how much.
Just a question of, you mentioned the Quinn bill a couple times. I've been on this committee long enough. We had the Quinn bill, we went off it. Is the Quinn bill one size fits all, or is it negotiable with different compensation for different levels of education? Or is it really like one standard cookie cutter thing?
Well, the Quinn bill itself is a certain level of education incentive. And then other municipalities, their union contract will be a percentage. So we're
Okay.
full
Full
Quinn bill.
For all of us.
for all of
Mhm. Some towns will be at 75%
Yep.
or 80%.
So
Yeah.
what does that translate financially? Are we paying for the education? Are people being paid more when they complete the education? Both of those, one of
The
those?
latter.
The latter, okay. So a person pays for their own education, but they get paid more as an officer.
Yeah, and in the union contract, it has to be a criminal justice degree, can't be anymore.
Okay. And it's a bachelor's, master's,
Associates,
Associates,
bachelor's.
So if you have an associate's, you get 15%, bachelor's, 10, bachelor's, 20, and then master's 25.
I just want to kind of go back to that staffing that you mentioned, Sergeant, about, we're at 13, lay out the numbers, that's actually the right number, but when you consider, all people's lives, you need at least a couple more people to kind of cover, sick time, that kind of thing.
Right.
But then you said the ideal would be to add 2 more staff to carry 17. And so 15 is, what is the 17 covering that the 15 isn't?
So the 15 is just gonna get us
Level.
pretty much level
Yeah.
where we've been. The 17 is gonna add a little bit of a cushion.
Yep.
And that way, if someone is out, we have that additional person to help reduce the amount of overtime.
Basically, you have 3 on a shift and someone calls out sick, you don't backfill.
You go to 2.
You go to the minimum staffing too.
Not staffed a lot.
I see. So even if you had 15, somebody's out, then you don't have that full staff.
Not always.
Not all.
Yeah, there are some
Okay.
instances where we do have 3 on, and that's why we got creative with some schedules and put some splits to best utilize that. And
Okay, thanks.
that's just more forward thinking for the future. I mean,
Yep.
if we really want to tackle the overtime problem, I think that's where we mathematically need to be.
It's a parallel to discussion to the fire department.
Yeah.
We keep
That was
having more
pretty sad.
people and we still, for whatever reason. The challenge.
Not to say it's the same.
No, what is a challenge?
My last 2 cents into this is, as Tony alluded to, we can put together some comps for different salaries in the area to give you an idea of where we stand. And then I also looked, as far as the hiring issues that we're dealing with, into an outside agency called Get Badged. And they are an upfront cost, but they host exams, they create their own candidate pool. And then, I hate to say sell them to people, but they hold all the cards, and they can try to set us up with somebody who is comparable.
So they're like a recruiter.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So they collect a fee from,
They collect a fee. I think what I was quoted at a couple days ago is around $2,500.
Yeah.
Is that a person or
I
just?
think
month?
that's, I think it goes by a subscription, and it may be a year access, maybe even 6 months to the candidate pool. And we can then have access to all those candidates who have already been examined, who may already have an academy, and then start doing interviews from there. So that's another viable option that I just discovered a few days ago.
Do you have a sense of how like Hamilton, Wenham, other like communities like us are dealing with this? Or are they in exactly the same boat, doing exactly the same?
Yeah, I think they're back, like Essex had their positions open for a long time and they finally filled them.
Yeah.
I know Hamilton, they had a couple of reserves that they just did away with the whole reserve program, so retirees, whatever, then they're hiring additional full-time staff with the ones that all stuff we have.
Any other questions?
Well said, thanks.
Okay, so now we have to look at the budget.
Ambitions.
Well, the increase in our own salaries, so. We
Yeah.
just talked about that.
Yeah, so I feel like we
The only thing in the salaries, you'll see a change, $11,000 decrease within training. Yeah, that's because of some additional training that was required for this year, was not required.
So it's every other year training or something?
Well, it's a one-time thing that we
Okay.
do. And the training line item covers everyone's in-service training and potential new hire in-service training. So that 51,740. No adjustment in salaries.
And then we have expenses.
Um, yeah, that's put that up. I have a note here, we paid almost $4,000 in labor charges because we weren't able to get into the DPW mechanic. And, you know, just for routine breaks, oil changes and stuff like that. So it's been slammed up there, and when we need things done, he's been unavailable. So that was part of the increase for auto and truck repairs.
And Tony, who controls his availability?
Chuck?
And is he full-time?
Yeah.
Full time. I mean, I think he's having a hard enough time keeping up with what they have going on.
Yeah.
Not being able to handle anything else, but being more than one person.
Well, it just seems a shame if the routine stuff isn't able to be handled in-house.
Yeah,
Whatever routine
depends,
is.
he may be covering other higher dollar kinds of repairs on DPW stuff. So it might be a good trade-off.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, the other ones.
The dues is the other one that went up. a
The
lot.
dues and subscription, I sent you a memo last time.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's fine.
That's basically, we have a new AI platform.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, basically, officers have that, at their phone, we got policies and procedures, all general laws. If they have a question out in the street, they got a real time right up there.
Yep.
Right up there, fingertips. So I thought that was a huge thing. Plus the town gets a decrease, I believe, in insurance, right? Like a 1% decrease.
Yeah, the FOIA thing sounded potentially useful too.
Yeah.
Maybe a streamlining kind of
Yeah.
thing, or,
Yeah, and that was the next thing. We're actually gonna go live. It's live now, but we're gonna go live on Monday when I can finally get it on the website. Oh, did you? Oh,
Like an hour ago.
Perfect, so we're live.
so is that effectively just change the locks on the front door?
Pretty much.
Next window.
Radio technician, we, since going to regional, they maintain pretty much all our equipment, but our cruiser radios and our portable radios are still on us. We didn't have a line item this year, and I had a couple of portable radios that are assigned to the individual offices break, and we had to spend $2,500 trying to fix these radios. So I put that back in. That's the reason for that.
Have we looked at the expected life of the radios and
Yeah,
put together a
we're about
replacement
halfway
plan?
through
Okay,
from the ones that we got a few years ago. I think it's life expectancy about 10 years. From what I remember. I think we're about halfway through. Steve, you want to talk about the training and the CPR?
Yeah, so we now are lucky enough to have, we have two in-house trainers now. So we were able to develop them to be able to become instructors. So our first aid and CPR that needs to be done to upkeep our first responder and EMT requirements are now in-house, which is a great thing. But along with that, then comes a little bit of an expense to outfit them with the materials that they need. So they're looking for a couple CPR mannequins and some other stuff like that, just so you can get it up and running. I think over time, we're gonna get that money back just in the expenses we're saving having them in-house.
Then we can use that for like a community policing thing where we can hold CPR classes for the public.
We might even be able to offer that to other police departments too, have them come to us with training.
By having it in-house, that also give you more flexibility
Yeah.
with the training, so you can.
Cost
fit it in
of sending
better.
someone to training.
We can set the dates to when best works with less overtime.
Yeah.
As well.
And I did increase uniforms based on the potential of 2 new hires. I think I forget where we were last year, but I think we're pretty close, if not over on uniform. Naming that.
There you were.
Yeah, we were over, yeah. Considering a regular uniform that we're wearing right now is probably, $100 for the pants and $100 for the shirt.
You'd be so, it's a racket, it's a racket. When I retire, I'm opening a uniform store.
Sounds like a business opportunity.
And that's about it for expenses. And capital, you see, we obviously the cruiser replacement vehicle.
Okay, so now we get to vehicles. How many vehicles do we have, and what's our current replacement? At one point, we were replacing police cruisers every 3 years. What's our current replacement schedule?
So we don't have an actual schedule. It's the oldest car that goes. So the line car is going to have what, 4, 5. So every 5 years, I think the line car goes. I have it right here.
Yeah, probably black and white anymore.
Yeah, black and white.
Black and white.
Now they're black and white.
Here.
Right.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 line cars. So every 6 years, the line car would be turned over.
But it did used to be every 3.
Yeah, it used to be every 3, but now we have the 6. So what are you going?
6 seems like a lot. How come we have so many?
One's assigned to the.
One's
SRO.
assigned to the SRO and one's assigned to the detective. The SRO car won't be replaced for a long time, because there's only one single driver.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, what is SRO?
School resource officer.
And then that cruiser is also set up for the comfort dog.
Easy.
Daisy. Got it. Okay, that's good. I like dogs.
And what other vehicles do you have?
So we have the 2 EVs
Okay,
and the motorcycle, which we still have. An ATV. Which we use on the beach, and then we have, we just took delivery of, through the JAG grant, of a UTV, which can be used year round. So we may make adjustments with the ATV and give that use to the lifeguards next year. Working for Cheryl on that. That's what they need.
we make a one from
So,
each of them. Go ahead.
so if you have 2 shifts full time and 6 cars and 2 go to the detectives, so is the intent with the 4 cars that you like can alternate a car over
That's what we
shifts?
do. That's what we do. I
Yeah.
have it right here. I can send it to you of exactly what the car, each car is assigned to do.
No, I'm just phrasing it so that it sounds
Yeah.
more reasonable. Yeah, no, I get it. Okay, thanks.
Are the EVs part of the 6 or are they in
No.
addition to?
Are you using hybrid for the cruisers?
Every car is hybrid.
Oh, they're all on, okay. Dan?
What do you use the EVs for?
My car and Lieutenant.
Ah, okay, fine.
And this is our last year of TASER,
Last year stayed there, yeah.
and then when do we have to start again?
So it's in the 10-year capital plan, but it's on my spreadsheet, so it's probably 10 years from now,
Okay, okay.
9 to 10 years from now.
Now, if the ATV moves to the lifeguards,
But we'll still have control of it, but we're gonna allow them to use it and store it at the beach.
so will part of that cost go to Parks and Rec?
I think we're still kind of working on the
Yeah,
details.
Okay.
Been, very limited discussion with Cheryl on it.
Okay.
Since we got the grant for the UTV, which is the utility vehicle that's can use for all weather, then that's what we decided to look into.
Okay, because I noticed that the ATV replacement is here for 23rd. And by then maybe
We might
the
not
beach
need it.
expense. not the police expense.
Probably won't need that.
We
Not
probably won't
needed,
need
yeah,
it.
okay, okay. Like that.
Just as a broader observation, it's a lot of vehicles. I understand why you need them, but from a maintenance point of view, that's probably something to think about town-wide. I mean, if we've got essentially 10, 11 vehicles effectively in this department, DPW's got a lot, others got a lot, Maintenance is one maintenance person trying to manage all that is. This is just a broader
Yeah.
topic for
Yeah.
discussion.
Does fire have a maintenance person?
No.
They
No.
used to, at one point.
I don't think they do you know?
No, I don't think they do.
Not anymore.
No, they use.
Yeah, they used to, yeah.
We have a fleet manager, but he doesn't do like oil changes.
Is he a police officer?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's a fleet
So-
manager do?
Just manages the vehicles, manages the, sending them out to be repaired,
Okay.
making sure the tires are, upmold. Radios are working, electronics are working, all that. I mean, he has done a lot of electronic stuff. For the cars, but
Dean, did you have a question?
Yeah, kind of related to the,
You went on mute. We can't hear you.
yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't have time to come because the CPC meeting ended quick, but, okay. For the maintenance of the vehicles, my biggest concern is that they get flooded with salt water. And I'm wondering if it's a facilities issue or police, but maybe we should consider something like Bayon's temporary shelter up by the lawn of the Masonic Hall where there's high ground, just to have a place to put cars in case of we're due for a flood tide, so I just think it's a time bomb.
well, we do, if we get a large storm, we move all the vehicles up to the DPW.
Oh, okay.
Does that work operationally for you though, or do you need
If
to
it's
have?
a snowstorm, not so much, but if it's, because they're in and out of there, but if it's like a rainstorm or a hurricane or something like that, then yeah, it would be fine.
Thank you.
I suppose you could also move them on the street in front of
Yeah, we
the
do that too.
place.
That's what we do. If we
Yeah.
expect the parking lot to get flooded, we
Yeah.
pull up on the front.
Any other questions on the police salaries? Do I have a motion to approve the police salaries for the fiscal year 27 budget in the amount of $2,109,655?
So moved.
Second.
Andy seconds. Any discussion?
Sorry.
Take a vote. Garth,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
and Sarah votes yes. Aha, first budget approved.
Good.
On our way.
So, if we do go down contract negotiations because of needing to try to incentivize people to come in, and it changes that number, we'll bring that to you later in the process.
Yep. Okay. Expenses. Do I have a motion to approve the police expenses in the amount of, for the fiscal year 27 budget in the amount of $2,241,755?
Actually, wouldn't
it be
135,000?
32.
Oh, sorry, 132 1,
135,
132 1.
sorry, my printout.
TA recommended.
Got it.
So moved.
John moves in. Any discussion except that I can't read the spreadsheet.
Details.
Oh.
Someone's got a big raise.
Spending over 4 million on the police department.
Go back to that 2 million. Once again.
Your vote, Gar,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Angie,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
and Sarah votes yes. Okay. Now can we do animal control?
You know, animal control is, contracted employee with Hamilton, so there really wasn't much change there.
So is that, what period is that contract? Is that year to year or? Yes? It didn't go up?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
I did have conversations with the new Hamilton chief. There was some discussion over, a vehicle and a vehicle stipend going up. But I don't have that information in front of me.
Okay.
They were concerned about her putting dead animals in her own personal vehicles that she's been doing for a long time. So they want to, give her some sort of vehicle, but it's gonna be probably a Hamilton vehicle that we'll have to pay a little more.
Oh, we're paying for a truck, right? We're paying $1,000
Yeah, so.
to her. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I move we approve it.
In the amount of 16,215?
315. 315.
215.
215, okay, yes, that's what I move.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Oh, Gar,
Yes.
John.
Yep.
Andy,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. That's it for police, right?
Is emergency management
Fire.
under fire?
Yeah.
Fire.
But parking. Might want to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to stay, 'cause parking, overlaps into the town clerk and.
Thank you for the police.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. My last one. You won't see me.
No.
Yeah.
That's not helping our staffing situation.
That's
Do you have a replacement?
Hope so.
He's probably gonna stay on his reserve though.
Yes. Anything else? You want to work it out?
Yes. Yeah.
Wish we could feel on Blanket Street before we move well.
I don't think he was trying to recruit me into being the tree warden.
Hey, yeah, that's a great deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not voting on any capital items until the end, and we're gonna take them all together, but we were fine with the capital budget, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. We will move on to the town clerk's budget. Operations and capital. Which is also pretty specific. Did we start with the parking?
Yeah,
Since
let's start with parking.
they're here. Page 25. Since we have a table of contents.
It's the numbers on the pages.
Well,
So the parking sticks, those are the
Yeah.
the little pedestal thing.
sure.
And how are those appearing to work out in terms of?
Well, I think that, so let me backtrack a little bit. So a few years ago, I was tasked by, I think it was Greg and through the select board, coming up with some technology for parking, because we were having limited staff for parking enforcement. Hard, to find people to stay on through the whole season. So my first thought was kiosk parking, but no one seemed to like the kiosk parking. I presented to Greg, I think, Rockport's program. They could have they get a considerable amount of money every single year to the tune of over $350,000. Not the saying that we would get that here, because we're different than Rockport, but obviously for people coming into town. So these sticks were the next best thing, and we put them in the areas where there was high traffic volume during the beach times. That created turnover. People were coming back, moving their cars, and they weren't staying there, for 3-4 hours at a time. So when they do stay there, we have to go in, the parking officer goes in at every shift on the system and approve the ticket, and it gets automatically mailed out. So I understand that. I think it's costing the town a little bit of money for having those sticks.
Yep.
But people need to be aware, if we end up taking those sticks out, we're not gonna have the turnover like we have.
Unless you
put some kiosks in
Yeah.
and make the ones.
So the revenue line item somewhere.
I think it was 36,000.
Yeah, the
That's
next
that's
page.
for fines.
Next page is revenue.
Fines are fines income through the sticks, or fines are tickets mailed out?
Both
It's both together?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
PEOs and sticks, but what we were able to do is having our parking enforcement people expand their patrol up Pine Street, up School Street, onto the parking lots of Brook and Norwood Ave parking lot.
White Beach as well.
White Beach.
So they go to the places where the sticks are not.
Yeah.
I see, yeah.
Do we know, Andrea, how much of the fines is from the sticks and how much is from everything, or not? Is that something?
I have them all in one,
Okay,
so I haven't looked at that.
okay.
But I did do a calendar year summary of revenues versus expenses for the last 4 years. So calendar year 22 and 23, we were positive 18,000, 14,000. Then when we started the sticks, net profit, if you will, 24 and 25 calendar years, we were negative 19,000 and 24,000.
That's not good.
So, if you're looking for the turnover and you're looking for things like that, then
I
you're
think
getting it, but it's.
the kiosk way of doing things, you get the turnover and without the expense, because it's minimal amount of kiosks versus having essentially a kiosk at every spot.
Right.
With the stick.
Right, like Beverly has.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And Gloucester.
And Boston.
And Rockport.
lots of places.
Yeah.
But
Rockport has them too.
But you mentioned there wasn't support for that, Tom. Oh, did they?
Can you
They said
have
why.
kiosks where there is a certain period that's free? And then there's a charge?
Yeah.
Does that.
15 minutes.
Yeah, you can program any way you want.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as kiosks, it's untapped revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife went downtown Gloucester. We live in Gloucester, and I saw a charge on my debit card for $1.50. I'm like, "What's this for?" She's like, "Oh, I ran into the store downtown and put a credit card in."
There are also ways, I think, the discussions that I had past is you upload like resident stickers. And I don't know how this would work out legally, but maybe residents don't pay for the first hour.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
I think something that I've kind of been thinking about with the sticks too, that it's tricky is the sticks create turnover, which is great and that's what you want. But we have a minimum of tickets that we're supposed to reach. And if they're working, the spots are turning over and people aren't getting tickets. And so eventually, I don't know, like you want them to work and people to not stay and get ticketed, but then we're not meeting the minimum that we have with the program that we're using. And then we do have a fee that's added on if we don't meet that. So
Which is why the fee for the sticks is so high.
So maybe we should relook at the kiosks
And with
at
the
some point.
kiosk, would you? Now a ticket isn't automatically being produced.
No.
That would
That
be,
would be
you'd have to have
Yeah.
you'd have to have a body that is going and writing a ticket. Yeah.
Per car, if it's over the time, without a sticker or without something from the kiosk.
Yeah, so you pay to
So an officer would have to go through.
go by, yeah, and they scan it.
So the officer would go to the kiosk, type whatever they type in, and find out in spot like 5 hasn't, or they're past the time, and they'll go.
Right.
But you also get money from the other people that are parking
Sure.
there. Sure.
It sounds like the sticks aren't that great.
Well,
I mean,
they're expensive.
Sounds like they're
That's what I'm
expensive.
getting here.
Yeah,
They're good, but they're expensive. I guess.
It's different between a pay to park and a parking enforcement, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's two different concepts here.
Right.
Right.
Do you want people to pay to park on the street, or do you want people to just be able to park for a certain amount of time for free?
Correct.
And then boot them out? So it's two kind of models.
but it sounds like they might be able to make it so residents park for free and other people
For
don't.
like an hour. whatever.
Well, if you had a kiosk and it's a parking enforcement officer that's patrolling the area and you have a sticker on your car, they're gonna know.
But at the kiosks that I've used, you put in your license plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you could program it to know whether that's a Manchester license plate or not.
I mean, don't
I'm
quote me,
assuming.
on this, but I was told that they can backload the information from our resident parking information, our stickers or
Yeah.
our excise tax. Yeah, and then that would read it.
it'd be a matter of finding the right vendor
Yeah.
program that works for us.
And
Just keep in mind that that type of policy pushes back against the desire to have turnover. If Manchester residents are able to park for free with no limit, you're not gonna have the spaces turning over. And that was really the driving, on my understanding, the real driving force was, especially downtown, was to get the spots turned over. So that
But I thought, and I could be wrong, I thought the concern was with respect to non-residents, not as much as residents, but I could be wrong.
Well, there's also, speaking on behalf of the Wellington Downtown Improvement Committee.
Yes.
There was also concern that employees of Kalis, or I don't know,
yeah.
beat on them or something, but some employees, we're working for 6 hours and they just leave their car right in front of Kalis.
Mhm.
And that was kind of
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah.
Even though whether they're a resident or not. So it really is the amount of time that they're occupying the spot, and parking, speaking as a shopping center owner, parking generates revenues.
Right.
If we don't have parking in our shopping center, we're not gonna get revenues in the shops. So it's pretty critical to a downtown.
I suppose you also might be able to have kiosks that I mean, I'm assuming you can program them so that if people are over a certain period of time.
Yeah.
You generate a
I-
ticket, you know, I don't know.
I think you start with an analysis of, not changing the policy, but kiosks versus sticks.
Yeah.
Kiosks probably include an additional parking enforcement officer, but
Well, I mean, they wouldn't be so inclined to be, out in those external areas, they'd have to concentrate back downtown.
right, or you add another,
Yeah.
you add another, so what that cost added in, and how that compares.
But you'd hope kiosks, if you did kiosks, you'd hope kiosk revenue would mean you wouldn't at least be negative.
Right, but you have to factor in the added cost of the enforcement officer to make sure that tickets are being produced for people who are exceeding what they paid, for the amount of time they paid for. So that would be the analysis I would start with.
I mean,
Is
when
the
I go to
enforcement-
kiosks, you just put in your credit card. And then you put it in when you leave and it's just charged for the amount of time you're there. I think.
No, usually,
Put it on your window.
you don't even have a ticket for your window. Usually now you just type in your license plate and you select how much time
Okay.
you're gonna be there for. Right. And then there's
Use the app.
you can use the app. But then there's a parking enforcement officer has access to that data.
Right.
And if you,
They scan the license plates and they know.
if you've exceeded that time, they would write you a ticket. Whereas now the sticks, you don't have that. They write the ticket themselves.
Is there any mechanism for, some of this is for the benefit of the downtown businesses. I wonder if there's any feedback that, business is better or something.
I think, but I definitely think like the turnover is improved.
Turnover is
We've
definitely.
definitely had a few
It's good.
employees of local businesses
Those concerned?
feel the pressure.
Get the ticket.
Yeah, so I think it's accomplished that goal.
Yeah.
Now we're just seeing that it's financially, it's not really working out for us, but that might be okay. That might be what we want to do is,
Yeah.
we don't make a revenue, but we're pushing turnover downtown and that's helping the businesses and which maybe produces local, meals tax
Yeah.
and we get revenue in that way. So,
Nice to actually do some metrics on it, like over the fiscal year 27 or something, to just kind of get more data.
yeah,
So,
I might be able to pull some of that data looking back too.
Dean, go ahead.
yeah, thanks. So I'm glad to hear that we're moving away from these parking sticks, and I'm very surprised to hear some of these conditions of the contract. And from a procedural, well, two things. One, will it cost us anything to get out of this contract? And two, why weren't we appraised of the details of this contract? I know things get handled, but who negotiated this where we hear that there's a minimum fee when we know off-season there's no parking issues? So it just mystifies me, as a finance committee, did we drop the ball in not looking over this contract? Did someone write this contract with other issues in mind? I don't know.
I don't believe the sticks are used off season.
They're not.
They're off.
They're turned
They're
off.
off. Yeah.
So.
Will it cost us anything to get out of it, though? The contract?
We'd have to take a look at the language.
The sticks run from May 1st to October 15th. Except for the one in front of the post office a year.
Oh, really? Okay. That's
Question
what
is the parking enforcement officer a full-time position, a seasonal?
Seasonal.
Is it sort of like lifeguard, seasonal, so many months and
Yeah.
no
Seasonal full time.
benefits and all that stuff? Okay.
Any more questions on parking?
Nope.
Do I have a motion to approve the parking salaries and expenses budget in the amount of 70,831?
Second.
Second. Okay.
Wouldn't discussion, oh wait,
Go ahead, Dean.
wouldn't whether we vote for this budget depend on what we do with the parking sticks?
I think that it's premature to assume that there will be any change in the parking sticks and or kiosks or anything by the time we need to approve this budget. So I think we have to approve what's here. If, you know, a study's done and I think it's gonna take some time to study it.
Yeah.
Well, this is for FY 27 though.
Right, but we're voting on it in April town meeting. And this is a decision for the select board, not the finance committee,
Okay,
with
okay.
respect to policy of how they want to enforce the parking.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why. Okay, any other
Yep.
discussion?
Right. I'm in a hurry to get rid of them for aesthetic reasons. I think they're actually, but anyway,
Did
okay.
you have
I want to say
discussion?
yes.
You want to vote?
Yes.
Okay. Take a vote, Gar, yeah. John,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes,
and Sarah votes yes. Okay.
No, right over.
Thank you.
You check the hospital.
See you next year.
I can see five most days.
Good.
We keep trying to.
Enjoy
Keep trying to.
Thank you.
You sure? Thank you.
I have to turn my car down there to have it on.
Hear about the tractor actually.
The front is on. It's
Oh, okay.
moved.
Oh,
Okay, now we're on to the town clerk budget. Page 23. Looks like the clerk is moved to full-time in 26.
Yes, it's been great.
Okay.
She started at the beginning of September, my assistant. Yeah, it's been really good. Big help.
Have we made a lot of inroads in that document retention stuff or documentation that she was hired for?
So, well, part of it was for her to cover other tasks that I can do that. So we did have an archivist come out in November who went through, did a review of things in our storage room. And we're now working on, well, that's been updated pretty well. So the next, I think we can clear out about 10 boxes in July. So that'll be the next step. But yeah, that's been a big help. We also, it's sticking out somewhere. Yeah, so some of the other things that we've been able to do, she has been going through our land use files and indexing those and making sure everything's in the proper place. We, as we had mentioned before with the chief, the request FOIA program. So we're actually just working with Tiffany at the end of the day. She's going to announce that tomorrow, and it's going out in the Tide. So that was great. That was a big project this fall that I was able to work on because she was helping cover the counter and the phones and the, you know, kind of basic, not basic, I mean, it's a lot of work, but the inquiries and things like that from the public. So that's coming. We also, I've made a few big spreadsheets of like elections, put in the election date, and I'll calculate all the things we need to do and the dates that we should be doing them by from our office, which has been a huge help. So we're, that way we have it set up. If anything happens, we both have access to it. We know what's going on. Next project, I don't know if it'll happen soon because we do have 5 elections coming up this year, but working on an elections contingency plan. So it's really, her being full-time has allowed me to do some of these bigger projects. Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, any questions on town clerk things here? Not a lot of changes.
No.
Yeah.
Like a lot of changes.
Yes.
The other stuff is elections, I'm guessing, the printing and stuff like that.
Elections is actually its own page, so
Haven't done
printing,
with that yet.
yeah, printing advertising is interesting. It's actually mostly dog licenses. So that
When
that
does
went up a
that?
bit, yeah. Because we are printing the mailings for those and ordering the tags and those kinds of things. That's kind of where they've fallen.
Do we
Is
increase
that-
the license fees, I hope, to,
What's that?
we increase the license fees? to
We
that?
have not. Dog licenses are 20 if the dog is spayed or neutered, 25 if it's not. And there's $10 late fees according to the bylaw. It's a pretty average compared to other communities, average fee. Some people, they wait till June, get whopped with $55. They haven't done it, but yeah, overall, it seems to work.
Are all the dog related fees in a bylaw?
Yeah, I believe so. I think they're under animal control under police, but we can double check that. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to just change it easily.
Be careful of dog articles on the warrant.
That's right.
Questions. 2-day meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is, I think if we were to raise it much more, it would, yeah, be more than other communities. I don't
Does that, where's the price for the stupid resident parking stickers?
those are under the parking budget.
Oh,
I mean, I already did.
I didn't have.
Yeah, sorry.
Divide and conquer.
Tell us how you really feel.
Okay.
Yeah, but, yeah, those are under, it would be a combination of the computer fees and the printing fees on parking. Yeah. Yeah, so as far as town clerk goes, the only thing that I forgot to mention in the memo, that we can also talk about if it comes up with capital, but looking at, actually, this is another project hoping for with the help of my assistant covering the office. General code, we can codify our legislation, so they will do a review of the bylaws, zoning in general. They can help us organize it. They'll host a better website than a giant PDF, which we have on our current one. Every time after a town meeting, I have to go into the Word document to try and update the bylaws. It freezes and I get a lot of error messages, and it's very concerning that someday it will just disappear or something. So that's a project we're looking into, but that would add like a $1,500 fee annually eventually if we were to go through with that project. But that's really the only thing I can see coming up in the next few years, budget wise. I think we're in a pretty good place.
I had a question, Sarah.
Yes, go ahead, Dean.
So I'd like to look at an initiative. Right now, we have residents have to register like multiple third-party vendors to pay like a beach sticker versus a football fee. Or that's becoming more and more of a security concern because you have to register for each site. And I'd like to get a grasp on how much more it would cost if we could just do it the old-fashioned way and send them to the clerk or somewhere else. Would that be a significant expense if we were to take a stand towards security, internet security, and rethink some of these third-party vendors?
So if you would like me to hire more people and to give me a bigger office to fit more people, we could talk about it. I don't know I think part of the problem is, I understand your concern because there are a lot of different touch points, but different websites specialize in different departments' needs. And so I would love to have like one website where you can do it all, but that's just not really, we can't find that service. So I don't know realistically that would be a good option.
I walk into the Parks and Rec department and pay for my
Yeah.
beach tags.
There are plenty of people who still do that. We
check.
Yes. We definitely still have people who still walk in for their resident stickers and walk in for their dog license and walk in for, various other things they can do online. But sort of just the way the world is going now, and gonna talk about cybersecurity then. Maybe that's a different.
I paid for my
thing.
mooring.
Yeah. Online. Did you do it?
No,
Oh.
I tried to pay online and it just,
Oh, first year.
it was tilt
Yeah.
bill. And so I ended up just walking into town hall and
Yeah.
paying.
Yeah,
Did you do yours online, John?
I've heard that.
Not yet.
Oh,
Don't know
Yeah.
not do yet.
Yeah.
I would like to say though, that we do review, our vendors, at least once a year. Our treasure collector, uses Unipay. We have she's always out at the, conferences, talking to other communities and things like that. So like, it is something we're checking into, we're making sure that, compliant with all of the regulations and everything. So, and our internal security as well with the consortium and the Fortinet and FortiClient that we use and everything. So I think we're like really, ahead of some of the people. Keep on it, so.
Did you want to say
Just want
something?
to add
Ann?
that.
I think if I understand Dean correctly, the problem is that you have to register in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
And that's up to I would think that would be up to the user to use a device, an app that generates passwords. There's no particular risk in having multiple registrations if you don't use the same password everywhere. And that's just personal sanitation.
Well, last year, the number one identity theft vehicle was through water meter accounts.
Ours though.
We don't have a water meter account.
Not yet. But I mean, those type of things it's a real risk.
I think, I guess my perspective on it is that we have to provide multiple options for residents to pay for multiple different things. And we always have the ability to accept direct pay here in the town hall. So, if a resident is concerned about those things, we have alternative options for them. But it's really hard to limit that option down to one, because some residents really like to pay electronically, some like to pay by check, some like to pay by cash. We are kind of on the business side of things, we kind of have to provide multiple options.
You choose to do so, unlike some other entities.
Yeah, I have had residents ask about the DPW stickers and if there's a way to pay that online and
stickers.
yeah, when you go to the transfer station.
Yeah.
And so it's, some people prefer one, some prefer another, and
That's the problem.
yeah.
Yeah, convenience.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the town clerk budget in the amount of $167,752?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Take a vote. Carl,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes. Sarah
votes yes. Town clerk election and registration. 69.36% increase in the budget.
The place when you're.
Good thing it's a small budget.
I'll think to reject.
So,
We had no elections last year.
What?
well, we have another one, right?
Well, unbudgeted, we'll have two more, so we'll have 3 total by the end of fiscal 26, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so last year in the budget, 1 election, 1 town meeting. Next year in the budget, 3 elections, 1 town meeting.
You may have another election.
What?
There may be another election. Or are you counting
Redo
the school budget? The school,
So in the budget now is the September state primary, the November state election, and this spring 2027 town election.
there very well may be
December ballot.
a town meeting, probably, depending on how the schedule works
I'll
out.
make the school pay for it.
Yeah.
Good luck. We'll have to
One
pay.
pocket and into
Yeah.
another fund.
Just basically sent back to what you could.
Enforcement formula.
And that would also require a ballot.
When we're talking elections.
Yep.
So, excuse me, the local elections, there's no early voting, no
Right.
absentee voting.
There's still absentee.
There is
And mail.
absentee.
Yeah, there's always mail voting.
Okay,
There is no in-person early voting because when we looked at it, I think we were getting, I can't remember now, I looked at it with the registrars and it was like maybe one person an hour or something, and it was not worth paying to, because we have to have two people sitting there. And it just wasn't worthwhile for local elections.
so what's the most expensive component of an election? Is it the voting at, election day? Because of all of the.
It depends on the type of election. So for a local, yeah, certainly voting on election day. I mean, a big state or big presidential, mail is a big component too.
Okay,
Because I know for, if I remember correctly, and I might be confusing some Beverly and Manchester numbers, but what I think I've seen with like the last presidential, there's maybe half mail, half in person, something like that. So that's a lot of postage and a lot of time packaging all those, and sometimes getting people in the office to help with packaging all those and processing that.
Mailing ballots out to the voters.
Yeah, but then we don't see nearly that for a local election. We have some, but not to the same degree.
any more questions on election and registration?
No.
How does election security get handled? Is that done by the police department?
Yes, we have usually one officer there,
Watching when you put your ballot in the machine.
but not looking at it.
On the school, potential school election, the last time we talked about that, we were amongst ourselves
Yeah.
questioning whether that could be added to the state or on the same day as whether it could be added to the ballot for the state elections, or if it could also even a second ballot that could be offered on the same day. I don't know.
Yeah, so I can speak to that a little bit. So I believe we'd asked the state, it can't be added to, for a regional district, it can't be added to the state ballot. You can do what's called a dual election and have a local election the same day as a state election. Very mixed reviews on that because it leads to, you have to have two check-in lists. You have to have two ballots. Some people might only want the local one or only want the state one. You have to have two ballot boxes. So it's basically running two elections right next to each other. And you have things like the mail ballots, you have to make sure you know which one or both people request. There's a lot of color coding that goes on in clerk's offices that have dual elections. So it is an option. It's, yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could handle it, but
I think you have to
yeah,
let the state know, the first Wednesday in August.
yes. Well, but I think the regional one, you wouldn't even be able to do
We can't have it on the state.
on the ballot. Oh,
but
yes, right.
You still have to let them know.
We still have to
it'll
let
be on
them
the
know.
same-
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, yeah, so if we were gonna do it the same day, we would have to notify the state by August. And the one thing about the regional one that I'm fairly certain of, but correct me, you may know, but you can do shorter hours. You don't have to do the 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Oh.
So the two communities would agree on their hours. And it's, yeah, could be a little simpler, but that's if it was a special election just for the, obviously you wouldn't do that if you were doing it the same day as the state, because that would very much confuse people if they could only come for, certain hours for the school and
Yes.
others for the state. So you wouldn't do that, but if it was a separate day, it would cut the cost down a bit.
What I heard at the school committee on Tuesday was that they thought that they would not be ready to have a vote until December. So I think the question of
Saying
a dual election is moot.
Okay, yeah.
You probably know a lot more about it than I do.
No, I think
Guess what?
yeah, my expectation is, we'll need special town meeting, fall town meeting for, the vote there and then a follow-up ballot December.
Maybe I love the time you have a ballot.
Sounds like we're asking a lot of people to come out a lot of times to vote.
And a lot of people to work 16 hours a day.
At some point, people are like.
Yeah.
I've been into the school 3 times to vote on something. I'm going for a 4th. Not everybody's big into this stuff.
What would be the disadvantage of waiting like the 4 months till April? They're gonna be ready December.
Just timing. You know,
Just throw everything
part of
out.
it is the schedule with the MSBA. You know, there are clocks, you know, on that process.
We just saw we can't afford it.
And then there's, you know, just time to market, you know, because time costs money, you know, it's gonna cost more money in 4 months.
So given that, I mean, if there were, generally would estimate 10,000 for an election, and then a fall town meeting, I think would be like 7,000 to 8,000. So that's just something that's not in here, but
Do I have a motion to approve the election and registration budget for the amount of $47,000?
So moved. Second.
Lori second. Any discussion? Dar,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Sarah was.
Capital equipment.
Is that all we have for town clerk?
Capital.
Capital.
Yes, okay, I'm not.
Oh,
yes,
yes, operating.
yeah, those are my 3.
Yeah. Not like
Very lucky.
a split. Capital. You have a full pad upgrade.
Yes.
What's that mean?
So poll pads, check in for election and town meetings. Great system. We can look up voters. We have 4 that are due to be replaced this summer, I believe it is, or no, after, I think it's after the state election, and 2 that will be in FY29.
How long do they last?
The vendor estimates, I think, 6 years before you should update them to avoid any issues on election days or town meetings and things like that. Like,
I'm sorry, what are the poll pods?
so when you go to check in at town meeting, we have, it's basically an iPad, but we work with a vendor and it has all of our election information and list of voters, so we can check people in on the poll pads rather than using a paper list. And at the election, we use a paper and a poll pad to kind of check each other.
Got it.
It's what Melanie does.
Yes.
Any more questions? On the capital?
I will say the codification project, we just applied for a grant this week for that. So I'm hoping that it won't happen in capital and it'll happen through a grant. That would be great, but.
And what's that for?
So that is the general code, updating the bylaws and posting them on a much better service.
That wouldn't be a match involved with the grant. Oh, good.
Yeah, just an annual maintenance fee of 1,500 after that, if we were to do that, great.
And what's the accessible voting machine?
Yes, so that's, right now, we have the auto mark machine, which is wider than this table, and it makes a lot of sounds when you try to use it. But it's for people who have vision issues or can't have issues in marking the ballot. So anyone who's shaking hands, so there's a machine that will read the ballot to them. There's headphones. It's really great for people who need it, and it's also very old. So the one that we have now was through a grant that the state got from the federal government, and they gave them to every community in the state years ago. They don't think that they're going to be able to do that again. So we eventually will have to replace it. And they told communities to start putting it in their budgets, that it may be coming up. We don't know the exact price. We don't know exactly when, because it has to be certified by the elections division first to be allowed to be used. So there's a couple options that they're reviewing. And we'll see when and if they approve one that can be used. And they have a nice one that's like this big I can lift by myself. And eventually I would love to get that one. And it's much more reliable than the one we have now. But for now, yeah, we're using what we can. And just something to keep in mind going down the line.
You think say whatever, like do like a bulk purchase for all communities, like you pay into like.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, yeah,
I keep waiting for my financial system software, but.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen.
Any liaison updates?
None for me.
We have minutes from January 8th, 26 to approve.
Sarah, I'm sorry. I was on mute trying to say the CPC is kind of up in arms regarding the rotunda stuff. So even though it's not till the following year, they're all like concerned about how that's going to play out, and they're looking for more information from us and the select board to have more of a plan. So
Well, we've discussed it in the finance committee, and I think the finance committee discussion was we didn't particularly support bonding it through CPC. But we felt it should be bonded through the town.
Yeah.
So we've had that discussion. I don't know.
I did relay that, but Jack was trying to find another way. That's all.
We met with Jack today. You did have that discussion. My impression was that we were tasked to come back to you with scenarios. You know, what's the debt burden, borrowing it to ourselves, through the town. And then plus last meeting, we talked about potentially taking, yeah. And then also, if we were to do that through CPC, what that meant, and what if we did that through CPC and increase the rate, what that meant. So we're preparing to present those details to you next week.
Okay. Okay, Dean?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Minutes from January 8th. You had an amendment,
Yeah,
Andy?
yeah, and that's partly, I guess, speaks to our kind of AI function for the minutes, but I think, Dean, you're quoted in the minutes as with a comment about a concern over the public trust in the Rotunda project, which I don't really have a good feeling about whether that's true or not, but regardless of that, I don't feel like it's a pertinent comment for FinCom minutes. So I would propose that we strike that comment. And I would like to get a better sense of what our options are with AI note taking, because it seems like it's pretty voluminous right now.
You can always ask me to summarize. I do all.
Well,
Yeah.
Sure.
I can comment. I did look at that. I did finally get the minutes, and I was reviewing them as we spoke, as we had the meeting, but I did mention that we went to town meeting and everyone left thinking that the rotunda was funded. We had known about the grants falling through before town meeting. We questioned people and we were assured that this one was good.
No, only one grant had fallen through at town meeting.
We were told the coastal zone management for 1 million was pretty much guaranteed, and we funded other things.
We did not. I spoke at town meeting and I did not say that.
No, not at town meeting. This is at FinCom before town meeting. One of our meetings, but
I am opposed to having in our minutes individual concerns expressed. I think that the minutes should reflect the consensus of the board.
okay.
That I don't think we should be saying he said, she said, and going into that much detail. That's my opinion. I mean, I just think it sets the wrong tone. Anybody can listen to the tape if they want to listen to it, but I think it really should reflect the consensus of the FinCom in the minutes. I don't know what other people think.
I agree.
I think so, and then generally it should speak to the financial aspect of a given project as opposed to the, you know, the tenor of people's feelings about it.
Okay, so we'll start with the Mr. Nahadas and scrap everything to suggested. And that whole paragraph will be gone, or that whole sentence.
First
So that
sentence,
Mr. Nahadas suggested funding through a bond paid for by operational cuts, blah, blah, blah. That's fine if you want to.
okay,
Yep, that's good.
thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Anything else? Do I have a motion to approve the January 2026 meetings as amended?
So
Second,
I'll second it.
January minutes.
I'll second them. Yeah, you can't do it.
I know, I'm abstaining, that's what I'm asking. I'm curious if you're voting or asking for a second.
Asking for a second, I thought.
Look at me.
But now I'll ask for a vote. Gar,
Yes.
John,
Abstain.
Stain, Andy,
yes,
Sarah votes yes, Dean,
Yes.
yes, okay, approved.
Andy, stop by our office and talk with Debbie.
okay,
She knows the AI program best and
Yeah.
she'll be able to look at that with you. As far as
okay,
settings and
yeah.
It's not a general AI thing, it's something specific.
right, it's a
I think there's summary and there's the detail, it's different
Detail.
levels, I think.
We could always
yeah,
throw
it's
it
not
in
general
ChatGPT and
AI.
summarize this.
We have a software system that we utilize for specifically for minute taking for public meetings.
Hmm.
So if you talk with her, she might be able to
Yeah.
show you what the capabilities are through that program.
Might have to call her versus stopping by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next thing is the next meeting dates and the schedule. So, Tony has given us a draft schedule. I did issue the agenda for next Thursday today because of the holiday on Monday. So I think I had COA in there. Because that's what we talked about, but we're gonna now have that due February.
COA is really straightforward.
Okay.
It's one of those ones that we can kind of plug in
Yeah,
any night that we have. That's an easy one to move around.
Okay, so I'll leave that on the January 22nd. It was in the agenda. I printed. Okay, if we don't get to it, we don't get to it. That's okay. Okay.
Do you have the other three on there too, or?
Yeah, I have library, CPC. Wait a minute, where's my little,
and health.
and Board of Health.
All right,
Library, CPC, Council on Aging, and Board of Health.
okay.
I have library first, then CPC, then the other two. But
Right.
you said Andrea could handle those.
Yeah,
And she gets to stick out the whole meeting, so I put her at the end.
I think the biggest discussion there is gonna be CPC in the rotunda.
Yeah.
And then, maybe library with the ADA bathroom, but for the most part, the operational budgets are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I had an off. I had a conversation with somebody from library, and I guess there's some concern about the Saturday hours not being included.
Yes.
And my response was to that individual was that this is a very tight budget year, and might not be
Yeah.
the year to bring back Saturday hours.
I'm gonna, since I'm not gonna be here next week,
Okay.
tomorrow I'll send the committee a note
Okay,
on those.
Okay.
And we spoke with the librarian as well about that issue. I explained the same thing.
Yeah.
And I said, maybe we could revisit it later in the process if things like OPEB and health insurance and school budget work out, but you know, as the budget as is, it's just really hard to justify that with, especially where we are with the school budget
Right,
right now.
okay. And then I think that what I'll do on the agendas is, I mean, we got other things like debt service and I don't know, non-appropriated.
Non-appropriated.
Yeah, that
Stuff like that.
stuff. That I'll just put in a caveat at all the meetings and just miscellaneous crap.
This could happen.
Yeah.
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 Get ready.
Okay, and I will. Now, and there's a typo on here that you get 2 3 5s and the second one should be 3.
Oh, thank you.
Somebody cut and paste,
Yeah, I definitely.
or copied and pasted.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
3.5 and 3.12 have exactly the same,
yeah,
okay,
we expected to need 2 meetings to do capital,
okay,
so I think that it was just,
yeah, I do that all the time.
yeah,
We should, you know, as far as health insurance goes,
yeah,
so if finance goes on January 29th, mid-February, we'll have a better, we should have our number, our real increased number for health insurance. So benefits, I think, fall under finance department. So that part of it could be
Let's do-
revisited later.
let's do, add benefits to the 226.
So, sir.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, and the assessor includes, building department, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then we'll do we won't do the benefits when we do the finance, that's a separate,
It is a separate
Yeah.
section.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do the benefits on 226 when we have final numbers. Better numbers.
Even if, you know, if school needs to move down to 226, maybe we could move those, you know, swap them. We'll see what. the
Yeah, I'll,
school
I've got to
says.
email Pam, I don't know, something happened to me this week.
Verizon.
Verizon.
I'm not, that wasn't my excuse, but I just got. Well, part of my problem is I'm having to move out of my second floor and I have. Bookcases and the books are heavy and I have to get to the second floor of the garage, so it took me a while. Okay. So that's good. And then what's this other thing is the timeline.
Yeah, these are key dates, just really more on our end, but, you know, we work our way back from April 27th and then put it in chronological order.
Yeah.
You know, March 27th is a big date because that's when the report goes to the printer. February 27th is a big date because our general bylaw requires articles to be submitted 60 days in advance. So we just kind of like wanted to put this together so the planning board, the FinCom, the select board, and staff, we're all on the same page of what are the big dates that we have to keep in mind.
So one of the things that's not on this schedule is school's here, but approval of the warrant articles. We normally do that. We do that before the booklet's printed because it goes in the booklet, right?
Right.
Yep.
So we've got to do the warrant articles.
Usually do that close to when the selectmen do it. The select board doesn't.
We had it listed last meeting, but we didn't put a date to it.
What, I don't see when the select board is approving the warrant.
Well, so this, all articles have to be submitted to the select board
Yeah. but when did
60
it-
days in advance. So then it would be, we can pick a date in March. The select board meets on the 2nd and the 16th.
So why don't we do, can't be the 2nd and the 16th. The 2nd's Thursday. The 2nd, are you talking February or March?
March.
March 2nd is a Thursday. Because we're meeting.
No.
That's what
Year
this
3,
says.
5.
Oh, 12, I'm sorry. I couldn't read my own writing. Okay. So I think we do the warrant articles on. Will the select board have the final?
Typically, we do it, we try to do it a few days before the select board if possible.
Okay, so we'll do it on the 12th.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's how that's worked
I
in.
couldn't remember
where
whether we do it before or after.
Usually FinCom kind of weighs in and then you all decide, well, yeah, we agree with them or we don't agree with them. At least on the financial ones.
So March 12th.
Yeah.
We have your recommendations before we
Right.
make our recommendations.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if we do it on the 12th and you're meeting on the 16th,
Right.
that should be okay because the book doesn't have to go to the printer till the 26th.
So, yeah, hopefully we don't have too much.
So
Capital numbers.
March 12th, we're adding in warrant articles.
Yep.
And the other just wild card in here, this, Tony, this list you put together is great. It's a little bit about the school. You know, theoretically, they kind of follow their schedule, but again, we're dealing with two towns. So sometimes things get pushed downhill and
What I heard on Tuesday is that they plan to vote on the numbers that should go in the booklet on February 3rd. They won't know for sure what their health insurance is, and they have some other areas where they may be able to reduce things. But their plan at the moment, if I understood it correctly, and I probably don't, was that they would vote on February 3rd for a budget with hopes of reducing it thereafter.
And when do you think they're gonna have the vote, when they're gonna have the help and the vote on the reduced? Didn't you say sometime in March? I don't want numbers in our booklet that's not the final numbers. It's too confusing. We've been there, done that.
Right.
Um,
recommendation on town meeting floor as opposed to publishing something that's incorrect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I had one, what was it, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
When I had to get up
Crazy.
there at town meeting and say, well, yeah, this was in the book, but this is the way it is now, and it was not pretty.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
I think
So
there
the
needs
point
to
is it
be,
could push into
We'll talk to
late
Pam.
February.
Yeah.
March.
I don't know when the school committee meets. They're
they're on the first and third Tuesday,
Tuesday.
unless there's a school vacation.
So in March, the 17th would be the third Tuesday, and we're meeting on the 19th. So
So
I'll put finalized school on the 19th.
They're talking about having an open collaboration meeting sometime relatively soon. Pam said she'd send out
Okay.
notification for that. And that might be a good place to have
Talk
this,
about the
this
date.
discussion with
Yeah.
both towns.
Oh, there was another thing. Andrea,
Yes.
I brought this newspaper with me to remind me. There is something in this newspaper that says that our match for Moore's Pier is 90,460, and we had a much higher number in the budget.
We
It's
had
20% of the 452.3. If this paper's right,
we had 116.
Yeah, and
And that's
Bayern
capital.
saying it's 90,460
Okay,
quoted in the paper. And that the total is 450, the grant is 452, 300, and we have to pay 20%.
okay,
So the
I'll
90,000
we'll
makes sense.
check with,
Yeah,
we'll check with
okay.
them on that.
Just so you can double check that. I knew I had to bring paper, to remind me that I was going to say that.
I thought you were gonna read the police records.
Use water.
Like my name in there somewhere?
Okay, anything else? So everyone knows we're meeting on January 22nd to do library, CPC, Board of Health, and Council on Aging, if we have time.
Yep.
I don't see any of those going particularly long, but who knows? I wouldn't have expected tonight to be so long.
See what happens.
Parkinston.
We had a good conversation.
It's six.
Damn stick.
I entered Tony, do you have anything to add to this conversation? With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
all right,
Yeah.
see ya.